bringing Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Mike, good afternoon. How are you?
Doing good. Standing out in front of Alex Box right now, waiting for Jay Johnson at 12:30.
Yeah, going to have that coming up here in a few minutes. The game, you're going to have to work a little bit this weekend to get around the weather, but we'll see how that goes. All right, so football practice resuming this week. Mike, this is a different type of schedule for spring between the morning practices and the really elongated schedule that they've got here. And the reason that Brian Kelly has said he's doing this is to increase the amount of classroom time. That's the kind of thing that it's tough for fans to see, but is invaluable for the team building. I'm wondering if you've been able to talk to any players and get some feedback on exactly how this schedule is working.
Well, we won't get players until the first time on Saturday, but I can tell you, walking out the building after we've had Brian Kelly twice. Ran into Quincy Wiggins and Major Burns Tuesday, and they all tell me they love the early morning practices. They've got the whole afternoon. We're in daylight savings time. They got daylight until 7:30, 8 o'clock, and so they've got their late early evenings and evenings all to themselves. So, but I think part of the classroom time is by necessity, just because they're so thin at so many positions. I don't know how they're going to scrimmage when you got 9 total offensive linemen out there. 3 of them are walk-ons. You've got your slim at running back. You've got a lot of positions. Tight end, your number one tight end's not. You've got a number of positions where you're just missing pieces, and it's. Other than doing situational work and some ones-on-ones, I really don't know how many play scrimmages they can actually do behind the scenes. And, of course, we all know that, is the spring game actually going to end up happening? That seems to be very much up in the air at this point.
Let me ask this, since we're talking about new things. Is it really necessary in spring that they have a certain amount of scrimmages? I mean, if the scrimmage work was cut back, significantly, would that would that be such a terrible thing? We saw Les Miles scrimmage them almost into the ground at times. If you cut it back, the whole point of spring is to learn and not get hurt, right? So is cutting back the scrimmage time all that bad a thing?
No, I don't think it is. And so is it one of these deals kind of like we were locked down for COVID, and all of a sudden they found some silver linings and some things that they incorporated and kept in place? Is it going to be similar this spring, where because of personnel numbers and guys rehabilitating after off-season surgeries, you got a number of kids that will arrive in May and June. Are they going to find that was actually very productive the way that was, and we're going to do a lot more of that in the following springs. That remains to be seen, but I think Brian Kelly, he's got the attitude that he's not going to dwell in the negative. He's going to find the positive, and so. I think the classroom time's fine, but look, you still got some new faces there that you would like to get some heavier work, but a lot of that's going to have to wait until August.
We got one of our guys in the Bayou Ford chat, Steven, says, "How big is the snowball downhill to not play the spring game now?" I'll tell you this, that would be fine as far as I'm concerned. Have another practice, get your work in. There is nothing that bores me quite to tears as much as a spring football game, Mike. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, I'm with you. They're awful. The positive for the program is that it's an event, and they host a lot of recruits. They have a crawfish boil, barbecue, whatever they're going to do. That's usually what the spring game is, more of a celebration or an ending type of thing. But
they can do all that.
They do instead with that last practice, we'll see.
Yeah, they can do all that. Ball, crawfish, have a party, bring all the recruits in. Just don't play the game. I mean, it's tough to get it in. All right, just some guys that have stood out to you. I know that this is a very limited amount that you can see and what we've got. But you talk to people, you've seen things. You go back and you watch the films, what they allow you to record. So what stood out to you through just a handful of practices?
Say it one more time. You cut out a second on that last part.
Just some of the players that have stood out to you in just this limited amount of time that we've seen.
Well, I really like what I see in Omar Spates. I like what I see in Savion Jones. Garrett Nussmeier, to me, looks like he's put on a good amount of muscle. I think Ricky Collins looks a lot more heavier than he was just months ago. And Trey Holly at first day in pads this morning. I sure like the way he looked. I like the way he was catching the ball on Tuesday at practice. Quincy Wiggins. I mean, but these are guys that just always look the part. And I sure like what I see in Toviano. And the wide receivers, Jaylen Brown, to me, is a standout. That kid's going to be a beast. And I like Kyle Parker, too, if you want to talk about newcomers. But all those kids are looking the part. And, I'd like to see the full defensive line and the full offensive line out there, though. And but, we're not going to see those. There's so many guys that we were looking forward to seeing, probably no more than Aaron Anderson. And, of course, he was on the list of the guys that we weren't going to see.
Let me ask you about Jaden Daniels, because, I mean, it's a given that, they have asked him to take a leadership role here. Last year, that would have been difficult for him just on, the short amount of time he was on campus before he got thrust in there. But now, if I'm hearing Brian Kelly the way I think I'm hearing him, this is supposed to be his team, and I know a lot of that will happen in the summer. But what they wanted to work on in the spring was the things that he didn't do as well last year, getting the ball out quicker, being more decisive, pushing the ball down the field a little bit in the limited amount that you've been able to see. Are you seeing some of that?
No, not yet. Not in the amount of time that we've had. We're seeing a lot of the same drills, negotiating dummies, going left to right, throwing either your right, throwing to your left, quick hitches. We haven't had that full-length practice yet. And so I'm going to wait to see what our next media email is going to be and what it's going to, when are we going to get that full deal? But maybe we aren't going to get that just because of the numbers issue.
Yeah. There's no real, cavalry coming in the spring for the offensive line. So, again, you're looking for positives in this, given that you don't have a whole lot of reserves here. At least the first five are getting extra reps. Am I reaching here, or it's just?
You had 6 scholarship offensive linemen out there this morning. Frazier wasn't there, and so you got Kels Bush from Carr, who moved from defensive line to the offensive line, and of course Fitzgerald West went from offensive line to defensive line. But you're waiting on Lunsford and Turner to get back from the knee, and you got Nakanoli and Martinez and Borderline all getting looks, getting moved around. But there's no 1 versus 2s or 2 versus 1s coming.
Yeah. All right, Mike, I know you got to get to the Jay Johnson press conference. What's coming up at TigerBait.com?
Got about 12 minutes of practice footage up on the site. Got our practice report up on the site. And in multiple recruiting updates, Kim Mulkey's talking at the same time as Jay Johnson. A lot of coverage from Greenville coming your way on TigerBait.com as well.
All right, fantastic. Mike, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.